Welcome to Sober Shenanigans. Real talk and real recovery, sharing stories, old and new, trying to stay on the right path and help others just like you. So feel our flow and get on with the show. Here's your hosts, Stauff and Primo.
I used to have a golf shot that I would hit. And it would
skull one.
It would call it the Scully, yeah.
When you hit it off the top of the ball.
Yeah.
That was almost every shot.
Was that a snore, I heard?
Yeah, I'm not going to use this. I just found this. You're not from Vietnam, are you? No, I just found this.
Napalm in the morning.
Little napalm.
He found the buttons with the sound effects.
I'm just fucking with it.
He's enjoying that a lot.
I'm a button guy.
Yeah. He does like it.
That's supposed to be a fart. That's gross.
Primo, and it sounded like a burp, a belch, I think.
But no, that was a fart.
Try it again.
It's literally got a picture of a guy. That's a fart.
That's a shart, man.
That's a shart. He better check himself. Yeah. He needs to check himself.
Now, there you go.
There's a guy that hasn't been to Key West. All right, so
nice.
You know, we were at,
you guys have inside jokes.
We have to be careful now because make sure you edit some of this stuff out because I don't want to be, I have an image to uphold here.
Mm-hmm. Sure you do.
So we took my son out for his 21st birthday last night, and and he's like talking about going to Mons Venus. I'm like, ooh. I said, listen,
is that place still open?
Joe Redner owns it.
Yeah, I said, listen, I don't know. I said about 25 years ago, a bunch of your brothers and sisters got gobbled up there.
Oh man!
I don't want to see the same thing happen to my grandkids.
Hey, yeah.
There's no way that place is as fun as it used to be.
You couldn't have afforded them then anyway.
Well, it was a bad joke in mixed company, especially with my wife sitting there.
It was, yeah. Well, she knows you.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't know everything. I mean, there was a time when we were married.
Yeah, Chris has only been married for 3 years.
We've been together like almost 9, though.
Yeah, Terry and I got married in 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a delightful. Yeah, she's a delightful lady. Good for you.
She's a killer. She could run for mayor of Dunedin. Everybody loves her. She's on the board of everything.
Really?
Yeah, she runs the food bank in Dunedin.
Oh my God, you got to put her together with my wife. My wife is like that's Greg. I mean, she's the girl boss of all girl bosses.
She's sober?
No,
she's not one of us. Okay.
No,
no, that's okay. She's. I'll tell you what. I'd love to hook them up because. She networks. She runs this.
I'm just saying right now, my wife is the when she puts the sword up and the other women's put their sword, the lightning comes down and then she changes costumes and it's
nice, man.
It's all fucked up.
Cool. Love to meet her.
Yeah. So we are doing what we like to call a 20-mile-an-hour roll. Do we have a?
We're rambling in.
Yeah, we're just kind of like, this is the show's been started now for a while.
I listened to you and my buddy Babyface.
Yeah, Babyface Mason.
Babyface.
I listened to you cats while I was taking an insurance test because you got to do that every few years. Keep your license current.
No.
And so I was doing the two things at once, but I caught that you were warming up.
Yeah, he's
good. He's very good.
I enjoy his energy. There's some sort of like he reminded me of Sandy Beach a little bit, and just some of his the walk, you know what I mean. There's like a calmness and just like he's just chill, and running the streets of serenity was a great quote.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. 49 Babyface Mason running the streets of serenity, and it was kind of like I'd like to take credit for that, but
he has a couple of real tried and true sobriety statements that he holds on to and makes, and he's probably been saying them since, when he got sober. 49 years.
Wow. What was the great part of his story was when he went to the international convention.
And they wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I want to be a part of the old timers. So you got to be 50 years.
They keep moving the bar.
Yeah. I'm like,
and he's not a tall guy.
No.
No.
Lovely man.
And I
We've just become good friends. We're both involved with a home group that could use some help. So, he and I are compadres. My wife helped them out of a jam too. So we got our place secured. Got the rent and all that handled.
Yeah, he told that story.
Yeah,
good story.
Good guy.
Yeah.
I like that group. I gotta try to plug in. I don't know why there isn't an earlier meeting though.
Well, they've got.
They start at 8:30, right?
They got. Let's see. They got they got noon every Monday through Friday noon, and I think Saturday, Sunday. I'm not sure. They got 8 o'clock in the evening every night. Every night. I run the Thursday night big book meeting. We're doing an old format from my days when I found out there was actually a program written down somewhere. And so we took that format and we're doing that Thursday nights. 8 o'clock. Honestly, 8 o'clock is kind of a late meeting these days. People don't like it.
It's out of my.
There's so many 7 o'clock meetings that are available.
Yeah.
And there's 600 meetings a week. And
unbelievable.
Vanillas, right?
I know.
Well, there was a time when they just transitioned into the 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And it just happened. And it became more popular.
Particularly after COVID.
Right. And then I used to do, so my first meeting was my first meeting was an 8 o'clock meeting in Tampa. And that was like the oldest meeting in Tampa, right? A bunch of old people there. And then I eventually moved over here to Clearwater, and I went to the, what was it? The Goya group, which is Get Off Your Ass group. Yeah, it's Serenity Club.
Yeah.
And I got my stuff together, and I went.
Have a Goya in Tampa too.
Maybe
Yana.
Goya.
Yana.
So Yana is pretty popular around the country.
The Sandy Beach was there at noon most days, I remember.
Yana, so he was part of my home group on Monday Night Bayshore.
Oh, nice.
So, and then it became so popular. Wherever he would go, the meeting would fill up, right?
Yeah, right.
So we had the overflow meeting. And then my sponsor and him, Guy King, was also the great... Yeah. So he was my sponsor, and he wanted me to start a meditation meeting. I'm like, first of all, I'm the worst guide.
I started one of them.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we got an overflow, so we want you to start a meditation meeting. I'm like, really? So I was like, and I'm like, it was horrible. Well, so thank God a couple of yoga teachers showed up and wanted to do their thing. It was like, it was a different practice every week, and I'm like, I need structure, man. I can't have this. Like chanting and oming and all this shit. I was like, I was going to drink over
it. Too much responsibility.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Meditation usually calms people down.
I did it on Saturday mornings because I do my meditation and prayer Monday through Friday, no problem, before I went off to work and everything. But Saturday was the day I just didn't, one thing happened and the next thing I know I'm out on the street. No meditation. So me and a couple of guys started this Saturday morning meditation. I mean, we do 20 minutes of meditation. A lot of us would do the old Oxford group thing where you write everything down. You ask God to direct your thinking. You write all the things down. And then it was cool. We had about 15, 20 people, and it was 20 minutes of get alcoholics to sit around and not talk for 20 minutes.
Wow, yeah.
That's who cares if they're meditating? Just the silence is golden.
I have to do.
That's so true.
I have to figure out how to get 20 minutes of space in my brain. Isn't.
Well, it doesn't say get like Buddha. It says think about the 24 hours ahead. So there's your instruction right there.
That's it.
Right?
So I'm an action guy for sure. I can follow those directions, but it doesn't mean I'm staying there. I can start there and then I'm off, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I was supposed to do this, and I'll catch back up with it. It's like when you put the bacon in the oven, and you know that in 8 minutes. In 8 minutes and 15 seconds, it's burnt. But at 8 minutes, you still got a chance. Mm-hmm. So I have like a chef timer in my brain.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Like I'm multitasking in my brain where I have, in that 8 minutes, God only knows what I've accomplished, and not burn the bacon. But the few times I burn the bacon, it's like,
Roger Fessegay, guy who owned Le Caravelle in Manhattan.
Okay.
Was a cook at the original Normandy, which became Le Côte Basque. And he was one of the big 5 French chefs that had their own places that all us young American guys wanted to go to.
Okay.
When he was a cook there at that place, he put like 6 cantilevered sheet pans of bacon up in the top broiler, closed the thing, and forgot about them. the friggin' answer system went off and closed the most profitable restaurant in Manhattan for 2 weeks until they could clean it all. And did not lose his job.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy story.
I was in the Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas. That's where I did my apprenticeship, right?
Steve Wynn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up working in the French room, but there was a guy there that all he did was cook bacon all day long.
Oh, yeah.
So he would have a speed rack with like 15 sheet pans of bacon, and he would throw it in this rotisserie oven. You shut the door and it'd lift the wheels up, and it would spin the bacon. And it's all he did all day. He didn't even put the bacon on the sheet pans. That's how much bacon they needed for that hotel. And I was like, I want to become this guy's friend, because between him and the cream puff guy, all he did was fill cream puffs. I said, if anybody's going to come in here and murder everyone, it's these two guys. So I was like, I got to be friends with these guys, because they were like, that's all they did all day long. I was like, wow, that was crazy. Yeah, 25,000 people a day, man. They were like,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, God, help me.
They were.
I'm a pan guy. One order at a time. That's
As part of the apprenticeship, you work in every single part of the hotel, and there was like 20 restaurants, right, or food operations. So I got to work in the. I said, listen, even the pastry guy wanted to keep me. I'm like, no, I want to go into the French room, which is one of the best restaurants in the city at the time. And I said, that's where I want to stay. I ended up staying there for like 4 years.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah,
Did you ever hear of Charlie Palmer?
Yeah.
He and I cooked together a copa.
He was. That's cool. He was Sonoma Williams.
Right.
Yeah, Napa.
Yeah. That's where he opened his place.
yeah.
After Oriole in Manhattan.
Okay.
He was in Oriole. He was at River Cafe. Then he opened Perry Alley. My brother helped him open that joint. And then his partners, the Creek guys, came over and they opened Oriole in Manhattan. And then Oriole.
Was that Mediterranean, right?
Oh no, Oriole was craft American French.
Okay, so I love
top
yeah.
drawer shit.
Okay.
Top drawer. So yeah, I was bourbon and cocaine.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
Did you like Anthony Bourdain?
I loved Anthony Bourdain. I didn't like Charlie. Charlie didn't like me either.
Trotter?
No, Palmer.
Oh, Palmer. Okay, yeah.
Charlie
Trotter's
was a
another
prick,
one.
but he was good.
He's the
really,
guy
really
in
good.
Chicago.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, another
Really
rock
good.
star.
Really
There's a guy locally here that I really like, Mise en Place.
Yeah.
Marty Blitz.
Marty Blitz. Yeah, I met him.
Yeah.
I met him outside the kitchen. But Chris Pont owned.
Yep.
Yeah, and now I work part time for him, and that's how I got hurt. And I was just telling Stauff how that happened.
Yeah.
So I was a chef when I came in. I was not a chef when I came in. I'd been a chef in New York and then New Jersey.
That's right. You went to CIA.
I went to CIA, right? Yeah. And I got the job as the Maitre d' Society president so that I could get all leftover wine and cheese and get, and the babes. And that's what I did. And then I foolishly got married right out of school. But I came in 93, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 93, New Vision Group, Bridgewater, New Jersey.
That was your sobriety.
That's my sobriety day.
Well, that's
Nice.
a good segue into Greg
It is.
firing this puppy up.
It is. Welcome to Sober Shenanigans, real talk and real recovery. We're just two average, everyday American drunks trying to get better every day and bring you guys along with us. If we can help one person today, that would be great. Let us just be of service. I am your boy, Stauff, and with me as usual is my main man, Primo. What's up, Primo?
What's going on, guys? How's it going today? Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
It's all good in my neighborhood as usual. And today we've got Vinny Scully with us. Local celebrity, great guy, ex-chef, ex-insurance killer, sitting here with a sling on his shoulder because he's trying to do some extra gymnastics in the kitchen.
Surgery. Yeah.
Vinny, how you doing today?
Great, thank you, Stauff. Great to be here. You guys have a beautiful studio here, and I love what you said about helping just one guy. If you can help just one guy, it lifts me up. It keeps me sober, and you're doing God's work. And what could be better? I mean, what could be better?
We don't know what we're helping him with, but
I didn't think when I was stealing church wine out of the sacristy at St. Joseph's Church in Demarest, New Jersey, and they had gallons, stashing them in the woods, stashing them in the patrol boy closet. 12 years old, taking pops off of that so I could deal.
nice.
Yeah.
12 years old so I could deal. Imagine what was going on there. Anyway, yeah, man, I did not think that I'd be doing God's work eventually. I didn't even believe in God at that point.
Yeah. Well, if you'd like to expound a little bit on what brought you into the program, maybe how you found, what was it, May 5th, 1993, 73, what'd you say?
93.
93.
Yeah, I got 32 years come May 5th.
Awesome.
Cinco de Mayo.
That's great.
Yeah. So many stories, so many ideas come through my mind just talking to you guys. I mean, between another ex-chef at the table. Yeah.
No such thing as ex-chef.
No, right. And
Just-
I tell you the truth, people cooking for me is one of the greatest joys of my life. When they cook for me, and they say, "Oh, we don't have you over because
just-
like, yeah, have us over. I'll eat your food. I won't even grimace.
I just want to sit down. Yeah.
Man.
And I'll do the dishes.
That's it. And
Yeah.
I do them fast. They used to call me Fast Vinny. I didn't know that when I came into the AA. That was my nickname, Fast Vinny. But to answer your question, raised in a beautiful, father knows best family on the outside, 9 kids on the inside. Father who served in the Pacific in World War II and seen all that horror and made it home alive with a bad drinking problem. And my mother, who was a fabulous artist, dance instructor, art. She had just had a New York girl's life, and she married this guy, and they had 9 kids, Irish Catholic. And I watched alcohol work for that man every day in my life. I sat there at dinner, and he would go from angry, pissed off to passing out.
So you're a member of 9. You had 9 kids in your family?
Nine
Nine brothers and sisters.
I was the second oldest of 9. My sister Susan.
Wow.
And then I was the oldest boy, so I got most of it. My mother wasn't getting it. I was getting it. I'm an old man.
Yeah.
But he calmed down as the drinks progressed. I didn't know I counted drinks, and I've been in Al-Anon for 11 years since.
That's a baseball team.
Oh,
9.
shit, yeah. Yeah. We had 5 girls, 4 boys, and yeah. And my brother, I told you, is a restaurant owner. He's got more sobriety than I do. My youngest sister has more sobriety than anybody in the family. She woke up at UF and out of a blackout, not knowing where she was, and the old man was just down the road in Palm Coast, Florida, where they had moved. He moved there with 13 years of sobriety. And I wouldn't give you a plug nickel for it. I was working as a cook in San Francisco. The second time I was homeless as a kid, I ended up in San Francisco in 76, July 4th, 76, the bicentennial. And I pulled into town. I got nowhere to go except some friends from high school, and they're dealing drugs and drinking just the way I was fine with that.
Right.
But I got myself a part-time job cooking for minimum wage at a saloon. And I'd get off at midnight, and by 2 I'd be drunk. I'd get to the bar, and they'd pour me a big glass of wild turkey and a Bass ale, and boom, I'd have 3 or 4. The high living, man, that was fun.
Oh yeah.
Working minimum wage,
Yeah.
sweating my balls off, doing all that stuff. But I got to drink like it's a high life. So that lasted about a year, and I had to get out of there. So I applied to the Culinary Institute, and that's when I went to CIA. It took a year though. There was a waiting list back then. But in '78, I'm standing in the kitchen at my little apartment in San Francisco, and I call home, and there's all the noise going on. I said, "What's going on, Ma?" I call her every couple of weeks, What's going on, Ma? She goes, "Vincent." She called me Vincent.
Yeah.
She said, "Vincent, your father's joined Alcoholics Anonymous." And I'm like, what else is going on? I mean, good. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah. And I had no, all I figured was they quit drinking, those people, and
Right.
who the hell are they, and whatever. And I can remember 2 weeks later, and not even 2 weeks later, I'm at the bar, and I can see the bottom of a glass of wild turkey, and there's a little black fleck in there. And in my heart and my head, intuitively, I knew that my life had changed forever. Because my father found a way out, and it was the only thing that I did, just like he did. And I knew that. So I knew at that moment that the way I drank was not normal.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it took 15 years of hell before I could get in there. And I went dry almost 3 years before I came in.
Wow.
I weaned myself off.
Yeah. You got a running start.
Life circumstances
Walking
were such
start.
that I was going bankrupt. A little store that I had. My wife was a pastry chef. I was a quote unquote chef, but it was a deli, and I was losing my ass. And I just knew I couldn't do it. I could not do that anymore and live without alcohol. So, walked into a meeting in Bridgewater, New Jersey, the New Vision Group, and after a while, I called them derisively the No Vision Group. Because
There you go.
Yeah. So the No Vision group was a fellowship-based group. So in other words, they had a lot of traditions going on, and they knew how to chair. You knew how to chair a meeting. You knew how to. 90 days they took you out to talk, just like a baby face. 90 days they take you out and talk, and so I got all that, and I got to go in treatment facilities, all the district committees. I got myself appointed the chair of the treatment facility committee. No step work, no nothing, but a lot of fellowship. And nobody, they waited till you were completely miserable. They gave you some Hazelden form to do a 4-step with. It's like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, right.
And what is this? Finally, I found I was desperate, really desperate. I was driving home one day, about 3 or 4 years of sobriety, and everything was cool. I was working as a meat salesman, as I told you guys. I got into this meat business, and it was a beautiful sunny day. I had stopped working my second job as a waiter in a fancy Italian joint, and I'm driving home, and everything's wonderful. All of a sudden, I got a 12-pack. 12-pack. They had these. It was new. It had this 12 beers in this flimsy cardboard. You rip it open, you pour ice on it.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. 12 of them bad boys. I could drink them. And I was like, came out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit. I got the obsession to drink, and I haven't had that since I was a little kid because I was drunk most of the time. From teenage on through adulthood, I was drinking.
Right.
So there was no obsession to drink. And this familiar feeling came back like a little child. And it's like, I got to have that shit. And so by the time I got down the end of the road, I had said a prayer. My first sponsor, bless his soul, got me to pray. And that was the one gift that he really gave me. And got to the end of the road, and he took a right instead of a left, got to a meeting, and I met a guy who said to me, I took him back and forth to meetings, so I thought that's what you did with newcomers. He was a house painter. And he said, I'm going back up to Bernardsville, where I got sober, but do you, and he said something about the big book and sobriety, and he hands me a paper bag, like a lunch bag, with 7 cassette tapes in it. Some of your listeners may not remember or know what cassette tapes were, but they're these plastic you shove into the dashboard of your car and it plays music. Yeah, you go. And there were Joe Hawk and Mark Houston, Big Book Experience, 1995. And they were sponsored by Don Pritz, who took the Big Book to Moscow, and he was a famous sober cat. And so their sobriety through other men who I met through this guy eventually was kind of like the stream that came to me, the Big Book. At that point, I showed my first sponsor where the third step prayer was in the Big Book. And he had 4 more years in this. He had about 8 years at that time. And the guy still kind of won't talk to me because he kind of challenges that New York sobriety. You guys talked about that. The difference between places like, San Diego or San Antonio or even Chicago, places where the Big Book was essential.
Right.
To people's early sobriety.
Don't forget Ohio. Those guys get a little...
No shit. Well, the Akron guys didn't like the Big Book either. The New York guys didn't like the Big Book. They didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because they'd already been doing it.
Right.
They've had these 6 things that they got from the Oscar group, and it was all oral tradition. As my grand sponsor, Chris Schroeder, likes to call it oral tradition. And oral tradition, it helped a lot of people. They helped a lot of people get sober. And there were some AA heroes and gods that came out of that.
Oral tradition.
Oral tradition. Instead of actual literature-based, where it's...
They use the tapes.
Clear-cut direction.
Right.
Clear-cut direction. You're going to do oral tradition. Just don't drink. Go to me, put the plug in the jug. You drink, you stink. I mean, I heard it all.
Right.
I heard it all because I came from that tradition. My dad was sponsored by a guy who was a major dude. He was like, I don't know how you could describe him, but I loved him. Funny thing, I was taking a CCD course back when I was about 15. They made me go, because I was going to public high school. But I kept some whiskey in the woods on the way there. So I took a couple of pops and I go to this class once a week. And the guy that was doing the class, I'd laugh in his face. And he was a really smart guy, and he was an angry guy. And I'd laugh in his face, and I'd say, you're an idiot. You people that believe in God, I don't get it, Yeah. And by the point where he'd get so angry, he'd be chasing me around the classroom, and everybody else would be laughing. It was a shit show. Turns out, how many years later, my dad got sober in 78, so that was probably about 10 years later, that guy became my dad's sponsor.
Wow.
That same guy. And I walked into the rooms May 5th. My dad was riding his bike December 7th, 92, in Palm Coast, Florida. Got hit by a truck and got killed. Got killed with 13 years of sobriety.
Oh, man.
So yeah, he got wiped out by this landscaper in this truck. He's an old 73-year-old guy with a big old fat pot belly. But he was the secretary of the intergroup there. He was really involved in service because that's what they did.
Yeah.
That New York area, like Akron, that whole servicing. You ever been to Founders Day?
Not yet.
It's
No.
uplifting. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's completely traditions-based, and they don't hardly mention the big book at all.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It's so weird. But anyway, so my old man gets killed, and I come in 6 months later. And I don't believe in God, but I'm there. I'll say the prayers. I'm Catholic. I'm raised Catholic. I know those freaking prayers. I'll say them, but I ain't going to, whatever.
And you'd quit drinking for 3 years prior, right?
Yeah.
Just for...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew I was alcoholic, and I knew I was 78 when I heard that about my dad. I knew that, the gig was up. And they asked me to read How It Works that first meeting, and I started to read it. I started crying. I couldn't read that. That was like, that's it. This is the death.
It hit home.
This is the death knell of your ego, pal. This is every excuse you ever had goes out the window when you read these words.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I walk in, and that guy asked me. I said, "Listen, I don't believe in God." He goes, "Are you willing to believe that I believe?" And I know he saved my life because he just said, "Are you willing to believe?" And I'm a wise guy, so I'm thinking, I don't care if you believe in Santa Claus. That's fine. Sure, I believe that you believe. I'm willing to believe
Right,
you believe.
that you believe, right,
But
sure.
I didn't know it, but in the book, that's the foundation where it says, if it was only a matter of me being willing to believe, could I build what I saw in my friend, Bill says in Bill's story, that was upon this simple foundation, an incredible spiritual structure could be built. So that willingness, that open-mindedness, that the W and how it works was essential, and I didn't know that. But I'll tell you that he says, we're going to work on your anger. The next time I met with him, a week later, I said, well, how are we going to do that? And I said, well, you know that God that I believe in? I said, yeah. He goes, well, in the morning, when you read that little black book I gave you, the Hazelton 24-hour day book that they give everybody up in New York.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, I am too. I read it still.
They had a red one,
I read
too,
it
and
to
they had
this
a
day.
brown one and a beige
Yeah, a red one.
and
Yeah. As a man thinketh and all that stuff, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I'm reading that thing, and he says, you're going to ask the God that I believe in to remove your anger. I said, okay. 8 months later, I'm sleigh riding. I have to explain to the people in Florida what that is. But anyway, I'm sleigh riding with my kids, and I'm late for a meeting, and I knew it because two guys that I knew from the meetings were getting in their cars. And I said, okay, Vinny, let's go. He goes, Dad, one more run. I said, no, we got to go. He says, Dad, come on. And his little sister, who's 6 years old, says to him, grabs him by the ski jacket, says, Vinny, Daddy needs his meetings.
Oh,
because
man.
that little girl was getting something she never had in her life before. And that was a safe place to live.
Yeah.
And right then and there, I knew there was a power greater than I because I didn't do any of that shit.
Right.
I just asked him to remove my anger, and she was getting a safe place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. She figures large in my sobriety story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to stay away from anger when you're a chef. It's a very ego-driven field.
And we all know today, because we're recovered alcoholics,
Yeah.
that symptom is straight up fear. It's fear masked as ego, masked as...
It's a lot of things, man. It's just pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure and fear of failure. Like, the standards that you were taught and brought up under are really important. And then I don't know, man. It doesn't work in every area of my life, some of that work ethic, especially at home. I have to kind of leave the chef. I can bring the chef in the kitchen. I just can't let him run shit.
Yeah.
Well, today I believe in the nurturing aspect of food production. I believe that cooking is a communication of love, my spirit, and I believe that if I can show my little grandson, we're doing cream puffs. He wants to be a pastry chef, and we took him in the kitchen, and Olivia, the whole clan was down. And he just had the thrill of his life. He's 10 years old, but that is all what it is. I mean, if you look at Keller's kitchen or anybody's kitchen who's top, they're silent. There's nobody screaming, get the fuck out of my kitchen.
No,
I used to be that way all the time. And for me, this is for me. I know today, because I've done inventory, continually since those 4 years in, when I got a new sponsor who took me through the book, got me through that amends I was never ever going to make, and since that time I haven't had a drunk dream or the obsession to drink since that time.
I believe it's one of those things that brings people together. You know, it's fantasy, it's science, but it's a time when people come together to have a meal. To me, that is one of the most important pieces of our life.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's whoever you're with, but to be able to prepare something with that kind of love and then share it with somebody else is special. That's what I think. You know, the Kellers in those places, they have the what's called the employee meal,
Family food.
and even the dishwasher has to step up and cook for
right.
everybody. So the whole staff and everybody gets to taste food from a different culture and all that. It's really a cool thing.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So that's really an awesome story about your daughter saying that to your son, not to you, and you noticed she said that, and that's when it hit you. You know, Primo has a saying that when we get sober, we affect 10 lives that we don't even know that we affect. And so you affected those two, especially her, that you're right. You gave her a safe place. She didn't have to worry about dad. He wasn't going off the deep end. He wasn't getting mad. So that's fantastic. So that's something that must keep replaying in your mind quite a bit.
Every time I tell my story, I tell that little bit.
Yeah.
That's the second step for me.
That's the awakening.
I'm sorry.
That's
That's
the spiritual awakening. That's
one of a few that I had around that time. But that one particularly,
that was the
allowed
burning
me to
bush.
Understand no, I had a burning bush. That was not a burning bush. It was an awakening. See, I knew that there was a power,
Right.
and I knew that it wasn't I.
Right.
But if you look at the book and you get to that point where you're being convinced, I'm being convinced. I was convinced at that point with victory. Convinced means.
Yeah.
So now I'm at step 3, and then where I make that decision to go on with the rest of the steps. And what it says is, which I love right there in that book, in the book there, it says, what do we mean by that? Just what do we do?
What do we do, yeah.
And it says, first of all, we had to quit playing God. Now,
First in the hereafter of life, it didn't work. Blah, blah,
it didn't
blah,
work. Well,
yeah.
now, and then it says next, we launched out on a course of vigorous action. And in nowhere in the book does it say we stop after that. We get an hour break in the 5th step. Yeah, we do. And then we talk about sponsorship. In the 7th chapter, it says how we find the alcoholic, and nowhere does it say we sit around in meetings and wait for the poor bastard to show up.
Right.
It doesn't say that. It says we take an active role in telling our doctors, our lawyers, our clergymen, whatever that might be, that we do have an answer for anybody who's involved in a drinking.
See, me and him were cut
That's
from the
great.
same cloth, dude. You're hearing this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, and that's the gift. The gift is that I'm able to say that with confidence. And lately, there's some words that come to me every couple of years. I get on a roll, whatever it is, and this time it's been the word confidence is not arrogance. It may sound like arrogance to people who don't know what I'm talking about. I've had an experience. The difference between belief and faith is experience. Experience gets sandwiched between when I believe that it will work for me and when it works for me and I get that experience, then you can't ever deny experience. I know that when I drink, I get drunk. That's my experience.
Right.
I know, though, when a man gets through amends and he's out there helping another alcoholic, living in 10 and 11, and helping another alcoholic through the steps, when I see that guy, I know that guy ain't going to drink.
Right.
I haven't ever seen a guy who's continually doing that, involved in a home group with a service commitment, living in 10, 11, and 12, ever go out and drink. And I say that, too, when I share it.
We talked about that this morning in the tradition meeting when it was at 7 a.m., by the way, which means I don't have to go to a meeting for like 4 days now.
There you go.
But we were talking about that, and my point was, we come in here, we drop all our shit off, and we just dump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you have to, at some point, the unity. How it depends on the unity in the community, where we have to now acquire these skills and pick up where the lights and the floors and everything, the coffee and all these things that just don't magically appear. You have to get involved and you have to participate in the recovery. And some people will take those jobs and they just love it.
Yeah. The
But
reward is the giving.
yeah, the coffee makers stay sober too, and so, but it's also very important that we don't let anybody slide from that obligation, or to monopolize it, let the other guys in and give them that experience because it's such a valuable opportunity.
I stayed sober on that stuff for 4 years. Strictly service,
Yep.
standing by the door, meeting a newcomer, turning them on to a guy to help, whatever it was, the coffee, showing up at a Joe and Charlie weekend or a intergroup, whatever, the district meetings, stuff like that. I stayed sober on that. Now, what I felt when I came in the first meeting I ever went to, I was sitting in front of our family therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, should have gotten divorced years ago, but we kept it going. We kept on putting Band-Aids on the relationship that wasn't working. And she was a sweet gal, Darla Norton from Arkansas. And she was in New Jersey, but she talked just like this. And she looked like Tweety Bird, and she was cute as hell. And she said, Vinny, you say you're alcoholic. Why don't you try a few meetings? And I'm like, all right, I'll go, goddamn, I'll go. She pulls a wearing one out of her drawer, which should have given me a clue. Her and her husband were red hot AAs about a county over from us. And she says, there's one right here at St. Bernard's Church. So I walk into that meeting, and what I felt was, I knew that there was a spirit of the fellowship.
Yeah.
I felt the spirit of the fellowship, and I was attracted to it.
Yeah.
I was attracted to it. But what I got when I got through that first fifth step, and then when I made that amends I was never going to make, and I'd like to tell you about that at some point, what I got was I entered the fellowship of the Spirit.
Nice.
So I felt the Spirit, knew it was there, knew it was in me, knew that I had been a lonely warrior all on my own, trying to live through life and keep drinking, but,
You're kind of in the fourth dimension at this point.
There you go. So now you're working the steps and you're growing, and the people around you, your kid is telling your son, hey, let him go. He's got to go. That guy, he's got to go. And you understand that something's happening.
Yeah.
And then you get it. And then they say the only way to keep it is not to give. They say, give it away to get it.
You can't keep it unless you give it away.
You give it away to get it. But you give it away to get it. So at that point, there are people who say, no, you give it away to get it. That extra something special that when you actually work the steps and listen to a fifth step, have a guy go through his amends and call you up. I had this guy, Bald Rob. He was a Micmac. Micmac was an Indian tribe hanging out in New Jersey and New York. They were the redheaded stepchild of the Seven Nations, right? So every once in a while, the Iroquois would come down and kick the shit out of them. They were clam-digging Indians, So he was embarrassed to be a Micmac. I said, man, that's the coolest thing in the world. You're an original American. You're you're First Nation, whatever. Whatever. So he makes amends to his mother. Hadn't talked to her in 7 years.
Yeah,
Now, he calls me, and I'm on the phone with him. And he's weeping into the phone, telling me about talking to his mother. He hadn't talked to her in 7 years. And I'm being blown away. It's like Ma Bell put God in the phone, stick it right in my ear, and filled me up with the Spirit like I felt a few times doing this work in AA. So I know it's real. It's my experience,
Yeah.
But this guy had his own incredible life-changing experience, and I watched it happen. I saw it happen. And I understood that to give it away is when you really get the reward. And that's where I felt the presence of God most often is in step work with another man.
Yeah. Tell us, you were going to tell us about the amends you said you would never make.
So when I was a little boy, I was lived in a really beautiful neighborhood, and I was and my dad, who had a lot of money at the time, he blew everything with his alcoholism. But at that point, he had 7 or 8 kids, and he buys this Craftsman lawnmower. It's a sit-down lawnmower, and we got a big front yard. And we're living next door to Don Pardo. You remember Don
Sure.
Pardo?
Oh, yeah.
Don once called me, "Hey, Skull, you got any of them doobies?" And I'm 19. I'm between homelessness. I'm staying at my folks. Oh yeah, Don, you got any of that 50-year-old bourbon? He goes, "Meet me in the driveway."
Tell him what he's won.
Tell him what he's won, Don Pardo. Yeah. Over splitting a reefer, drinking his booze. Anyway, Don was there, and his son Whitey, the oldest son, Michael, lives out in Reno now. And Don's dead, so I can say this stuff about him. But Whitey, was Mike, was going to do our lawn for 3 weeks. We're going away for vacation. I'm 8 years old. And I convinced my dad to let me do the lawnmower because I said, that way Whitey's only got to mow it twice. How did I knew that at 8? I don't know. And I jump on this lawnmower I'd never driven before. And my dad's drunk, so he let me do it. And he's sitting in there and ends up on top of my feet.
Jeez.
Ripping my feet to shred. Yeah.
Oh,
I got a crazy story about that too, but I did retain 9.5 toes from that. And ran 3 marathons on these feet with AA guys, Chris being one of them. So why am I telling you this story? What did you ask me?
the amends you didn't make. You wanted to make, yeah.
So while I'm screaming on the ground on my back, and my sneakers are being ripped up and my toes are being ripped to shreds, the guy runs down. My best friend's father, Larry Singer's father, Dr. Singer, pulls me out from under the lawnmower and saves my life and brings me in, and they wrap me up and they get me to the hospital. And no vacation, of course. But his son, Larry, was my best friend. I had 2 best friends. Larry was kind of an Ashkenazi-looking Jewish kid from, his parents were very Eastern European, could play a violin at the age of 8. He was a brilliant musician. He taught me how to play the fugs, Mothers of Invention, all this stuff. And I was just a jerky kid, and he brought me over and showed. And Buffy, the other guy, was like Troy Donahue when he was 8 years old. He was wearing white bucks and Madras pants. And the 3 of us were like the 3 Musketeers as kids. So Larry was my best friend, and I ended up. So he saves my life, and Larry's my best friend. I ended up B&E in their house when I was like 14, 15 years old, and that led to
That
some
means
other,
breaking and entering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rite of passage.
So I did that, and I didn't find what I was looking for, which was booze. Little cherry Chiaffa. My dad had 16 bottles all the time. And I was like, well, I guess they don't drink like we do. Anyway, but my friends all came back, and they really did the neighborhood. And Larry lost a few things. Blood, Sweat, and Tears album, I can remember that. But so it was something that I hid deep down inside. I was never ever gonna see that man. And Larry eventually killed himself at the age of about 22. Mental illness plus drugs and being brilliant. He didn't want to live on this orb anymore.
Yeah.
And an interesting story about that. But I knew I needed to make amends to his dad, who saved my life.
Right.
And I went through 2 sponsors. And I was, 8-step. I used to say I walked in the 9th. It was really the 8th. I was not willing. Well, I was, Dave Fredrickson, who lives out, and he's a great YouTube guy. You want to listen to a guy who runs the steps and unbelievable. But Dave was talking from a podium, and he says, I'm flying my plane full of people, and I'm so dry from not making an amends that I left back home, and there was no way I was ever going to see this person. I almost flew that jumbo jet full of people into the Alps, and he's weeping on the podium. So after his talk, I went up to him and said, you got to help me, man.
Yeah.
So he
Cool.
he had made that. So I ended up going up to Larry's dad. He was remarried. Larry, the first wife's dead, and anyways, because it's a beautiful apartment overlooking the Hudson in New York City. And I go up there, and I told him, I said, I'm here because I'll never go to ever drinking until I straighten out the past. I'm an alcoholic. I don't know if you know my dad was, but I am, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yes. So we were sitting, I told him the story, and he says to me, Vinny, you go, Vincent. He calls me Vincent. Vincent, when you were a young man, when you were a boy, you were the only kid in the neighborhood that treated my son like a brother. I loved you like a son then, and I love you like a son now.
Oh, man.
And I wasn't, and none of that means anything to me, except the fact that you're sober and you're well. Oh. And we're both weeping and embracing. And I left that place a free man. I've not had a drunk dream nor the obsession to drink since that day in 1998 when that happened, 99, something like that. So I got free from there. And then my sponsor, Dave, also is a big proponent of a surrogate amends. So if anybody who's listening has an amends that they feel that they cannot make, well, first of all, you're missing the point, because there's several prayers through the 4-step and the 7-step. Those prayers are invaluable to me today as 10-step prayers. But that prayer about God help me to do the right thing no matter what the personal consequences on 79, that means that God's going to do the amends. I just got to show up, flatten my lips, follow the script my sponsor and I figure it out. But he also said it's just somebody dead or somebody, like I had an affair in AA and I couldn't make amends to the father or the kids. But I did in a room with 3 guys. We said a prayer. I read one to each child and the husband, and I was able to get that. And also with Larry, I did that with my sponsor. I said, Larry, there's nobody that resembles Larry or doesn't. Anyway, I read the letter to him from my best friend, Larry.
Yeah.
And a week later, a guy walks into my home group, could be Larry's doppelganger. Laugh like Larry, talk like Larry, Jewish kid from Fort Lee, New Jersey, was just all hung up about women and stuff, so uptight. I love this guy, and I became his sponsor.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great story.
It's funny how God works, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
The realm of the spirit is broad, roomly, all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidding. It's open, we believe, to all who earnestly seek. And I was seeking, man. By that time, I was desperate to drink, I was definitely heading back the other way in sobriety.
I have been, I like well, first of all, you remind me of some of the old black belt sobriety guys that I got kind of mixed up with in the early days.
In Tampa?
Oh, yeah. What step are you on? What are you doing? Where are you going? What meeting are you going to? Just taking my inventory every second of the day and just pounding on me. And, and it's definitely softened up. And I'm kind of like, I really like that, that people have to kind of get involved and study the book the way it was meant to be read. It's not a casual thing. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. Like, I'm doing, surgery on myself, and here is the solution. I need to read the instructions. You know what I mean? Like, to save my life. And it didn't become like paramount that it was saving my life until I was that close to dying, and it was like I might as well have been dead, the way that I felt. So I just think it's like I love that energy. Like, yeah, I'd like to have fun, but at the same time, this thing is no joke, and we're trying to implement some of that old school mentality, but maybe put a message out that, you can still have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's important. 100%.
Yeah, you got to maintain a sense of humor.
Wow.
And there's nothing more fun than laughing at a meeting of something absurdly tragic, or and everybody's laughing their ass off, and any normal person come in and say, I can't believe you're laughing about that, because we've all done it, we've all been there, we've all had those thoughts or whatever.
Sure.
You said something at the last podcast of yours that I listened to, and by the way, they're great.
Thank you.
That this drinking is but a symptom. It's a symptom. Yeah. Now, if it's a symptom of a disease, and the disease is progressive and fatal, well, I'm not drinking. Right. It's been a long, long time since I've drank. But that means that disease is advancing in my head, next to God, because it's fine. The great reality is deep within me. I know that today. I don't believe it. I know it. It's my experience that inside of me is this beautiful being, and we're all connected. And they say the greatest sin of all is thinking that we're disconnected. Or believing that I'm disconnected, that there's an area of God an area of my life that I'm just going to push God aside. So if I have less choice today than when I walked in the rooms, whether or not I drink, because it's a progressive illness,
sure.
And it ain't booze. The illness is inside of me, and if that's progressive, it certainly is fatal, if acted upon. Yeah, and the other thing about the prayers. The thing of it is we ask God to direct our thinking. And if I'm in fear and I say, God, please remove my fear of, and when we talked about being a chef and an ego and running a show, and for me, that's a fear of not being loved. Not being loved. Or being broke, which means dying, which means dying. So I've got 2 fears, not being loved and dying. Every one of my fears boils down to that. So if I'm pissed, if I can catch it and say, God, please remove because I know if I'm angry, I got to go to the resentment prayer eventually, like, God, please help me show this son of a bitch the same patience, pity, and tolerance I cheerfully grant thy sick friend, right?
Yeah.
If I got to go there, I'm already shot. I shot my want. But if I can get it by the point where I can feel the rising of the ego, right, the anger, I can say, God, please remove my fear of not being loved and direct my attention to what you would have me be. That, to me, is an essential part of my life today. It's not bullshit. This is how I keep my feet on the ground on a daily basis and maintain. I mean, I was in a meeting today, and the guy wouldn't take announcements, and I wanted to tell him about I wanted to tell the group. Okay, I had a mission. I wanted to tell the group about what's the intergroup thing?
Sober Shenanigans?
Yeah, Sober Shenanigans.
All right, yes,
you're
great.
not an AA.
Thank you,
You're
by
not
the
AA, by the way.
We know.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, this is it's Saturday. It's in Largo, and it's the day where they talk about
It's the Pinellas County.
Intergroup?
District 1 and Intergroup are sponsoring. It's called a day of whatever, but it's all about service commitments that are available in Pinellas County. So you can go there, and they have speakers from each literature.
Yeah.
And so if you're interested in sober in service, and you want to get a sponsee involved in service, you can go there, and they can listen to the guys in charge of getting people into the jails. Oh,
okay.
I want to go. I want to go talk to them, and they go over there. So that kind of service. Oh, the guy wouldn't.
So it's like a service workshop.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And I was going to pull it up, but I'm going to go. I'm going to take a carload of guys. But I wanted to make that announcement.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, no, we don't. He don't like me. It's okay, but he knows that I'm a traditions guy, and he doesn't dig that. So he's like, no, we don't need announcements. So they starts passing the basket. And I said, well, we're passing the basket. There's a great thing you guys should, and we should know about it, and yada, yada. But my heart was beating because I was in fear. Because I was already pissed at the dipshit.
Yeah.
I was already mad at him. And he's chairing the meeting.
You want us to come down there? Me and Greg come down
He
there.
thinks
and
that-
we'll bring him to our tradition meeting.
People think that
In the trunk.
chairing a meeting is some position of authority.
I know.
Trusted servant is what you are,
Yeah.
and your whole gig at that table is to perform the group trust in you by following the agenda, which actually calls for. Does anybody have any announcements for the good of it?
That's
Yeah,
right.
the big wigs in our group
right.
are the servants, man. It's
go.
the volunteers. Those are the if you want to become a leader, you're their servant. That's it.
Vinny, I find myself asking my higher power and God to take worry, anxiety, and fear off me quite a bit when I feel it coming on. And I know that it's all in my head. It's all made up, right? We say it at the end of every show.
Yeah.
And I say this at the end of every show, and now I'm the person who's can't handle it. But Vinny just handed it to me. It's called Carry the Message Day.
Yeah.
The next one's October 25th at 12 o'clock, from 12 to 3, Pinellas County Intergroup. Yeah, that's a good one. Right there, 10895 Hamlin Boulevard.
You walk
right
in that
Clearwater.
room, there'll be at least 80 AAs that are seriously involved in service.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in AA just, I'm going to sit on my ass, get it by osmosis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in AA that are doing that 12-step. We all got a role to fill in our fellowship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys
Osmosis.
that are making
Yeah,
that
I know.
coffee or
I like
coming
that.
with the cookies or any of that shit. That is, that's why it's such a healthy fellowship.
I agree with you. I think there's a good balance in recovery, and a lot of things you touched on I really enjoyed. Pride is one of the sins that impacted me the most. Mm-hmm. It's a double-edged sword, and it cuts both ways, but my pride can get in the way, and fear, but also like I want to be accepted, I want to be loved, I want all those things. But the St. Francis prayer teaches us to give those things. Like whatever I want, I have to give.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
right.
annoying.
It
it's so
is.
it's
You're
so
right,
annoying,
but
but
Isn't that fun?
That's
Pisses
how it
you
comes
off,
back.
right?
oh, you know what? And the crazy thing, I mean, I'm probably 27 years sober, and I'm learning this lesson when my father's diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Oh. And I realize, my father was a great man, definitely my hero, and he never gave up on me, And hey, there's the wife. And but the interesting thing about that lesson was that I watched this man kind of deteriorate, and I had to stop thinking about myself and take care of somebody else. And I used to preach to guys, hey, go get a fish. If you can get a fish to live, then maybe you can have a relationship, or get a plant. You know what I mean? These are when I'm sponsoring guys, I tell them to go get a plant. If they're struggling with the relationship, I'm kind of a smart ass like that, but
Hey, that works.
it
works.
The last guy, Tyler, just got married. He eloped and went to Bora Bora.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
He started out with a plant. You know, the other guy,
And he named the plant.
well, whatever. I don't know if the
Sadie.
plant's still around. She's probably taking care of it now. But, you know, I love the fact that you bring up those things and how critically important that self-appraisal, you know, and to get into ourself and look at what the exact nature of what's really troubling us so that we can be of service.
And you know,
it's difficult.
Well, you know, when the growth is really obvious to me about myself, and it's okay for me to pat myself on the back.
Sure.
You know, my sister Susan has got
With one arm?
Alzheimer's, yes. Alzheimer's and dementia. I was going to tell you the joke about sex, but I won't. She's over there at Palm Gardens now.
Okay.
And she was my light. She was the one who smoked dope first, went to Boston to school, so I went to Boston to school. You know, she was this, that, and the other thing. So she was my hero. And now she's got dementia. And now I'm showing up on a daily basis as often as I can to just be there with her. And I don't think of it as anything more than the most natural thing in the world
Right.
for me to sit there and to listen. I can't cure her. I can't do nothing about it. But I can be there.
Yeah.
And that is a gift for me. You know, it's a gift. It's a gift that I am able to know that. And the other thing is maintaining a sense of humor about the growth is when you can laugh at yourself. When you see that anger coming, or that you see your ego being challenged, and you just like, there I go again. What the hell? How important is it?
Yeah.
But I joined Al-Anon in 2011. You probably ran into Sister Kathy Cahill over there in Tampa. She's a nun, Franciscan nun. She was a.
You see the knuckles?
Oh, yeah. You got the rulers on the knuckles.
She whacked me a few times. Those nuns, they don't mess around with me.
There were some interesting people at that Tampa meeting. It was this one old broad that Paula, she was out of her friggin' mind, but she had an interesting story to say the least. But Sister Kathy, I was going to leave my second wife. Realized that she didn't even like me, and I had married her and moved her to Florida, and I think that was her agenda, really. And I said a prayer to my folks who were both passed away at the time. And in a week, I was sitting at the Franciscan Center in Tampa talking to this woman who was their best friend in Florida. I didn't even know she was alive. Didn't know anything about her. She puts her hand on my shoulder and she goes, Vinny, you know, your parents want you to be happy. And God wants you to be happy. You should be happy. And I don't care how sober I've been before that. I never had that thought in my life. Could you repeat that, please? I should be happy? Wow, I thought I was supposed to dig ditches for my whole life, and then they push me in, throw some dirt on me, say a couple of words, and that's that.
Right.
Yeah. So I joined Al-Anon the next week because that is strictly out of the family craziness of alcoholism.
Right.
Where you think you're responsible for everything. Not every alcoholic belongs in Al-Anon, but you said is in Al-Anon they say one alcoholic affects between 7 and 14 people. Now I heard a long time ago that the statistics are 1 in 10 people are alcoholic.
Yeah.
1 in 10 people. That means they should be holding Al-Anon meetings in stadiums.
Sure.
60,000 people for one night a week.
Yeah.
You know, because hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I spoke in an Al-Anon meeting once.
Yeah.
Here recently, actually.
I've spoken as both Al-Anon and an AA.
And it freaked me out.
The hardest thing to do is as an AA. If you weren't raised, I was raised by an alcoholic. I mean, I have an ancestor who was vice president of the United States, died in 1825 of alcoholism. So that has been handed down generationally.
Yeah.
And so has the Al-Anon part, where, you know, the mother was responsible for everything and all that shit. But anyway, the hardest thing to do as an AA is to go as an Al-Anon and speak as an Al-Anon without mentioning your alcoholism, without mentioning the disease that you suffer from, because they don't want to hear it, number one.
Right.
They don't want to hear nothing from you, from us guys, right?
Right.
But it's a challenge to say, you know, I was raised in alcoholism. I took on everything I could take on. I threw it on my back and I trudged through life, and I was responsible for everybody's feelings around me. I was always thinking what the wife was thinking, what she's thinking. That's not AA.
No, recovery can get very heavy for some people. And you got to drop the rock. It's a famous saying.
You're here.
Yeah, drop that rock, baby.
Yeah,
Stop
sure.
carrying the load.
That's right.
Carry the message, not the mess.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
anyway, that's
speaking of messages, as we do every week on this show, we have a celebrity quote from somebody who is sober, famously sober, and our boy Vinny Scully chose Anthony Hopkins today. So I dug this quote up from Senior Hopkins. It says, "I just want to wish everyone a happy new year, and also to say that I'm celebrating 47 years of sobriety today. I want to share a helpful message to those struggling like I was in that desperate situation. You just have to acknowledge one day that there is something wrong with you like there was me. I didn't realize it, that it was a kind of condition, mental, physical, emotional condition called alcoholism or addiction. I'm no expert on drugs or anything. I know nothing except I found a life where no one bullies me anymore. Don't listen to them. Be proud of yourself. Depression and anxiety can be part of life, and life is tough. Talk to someone you respect. Don't be ashamed. Ask for help. Get help. And like me, you can have the best life you could ever imagine." Sir Anthony Hopkins. Nice choice, Vinny.
Wow.
I like that one.
Love that guy.
Yeah, that was good. That's a lot of years, too, 47 years.
Dude, anytime I can get Hannibal Lecter to give me some advice, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You know, I like him.
Yeah.
You know, they transported me like they transported him from facilities. When I left the treatment center to go to another one, they had me in a chair like that.
Did you ever see Magic, the movie Magic?
No.
With the puppet?
With the puppet.
Oh,
And Burgess Meredith
God.
plays. Burgess Meredith.
Oh, I love
plays-
Burgess Meredith.
He plays the manager.
Yeah.
Your manager. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. And he's going nuts off the wall, and he starts killing people with the puppet.
That movie scared me so
Margaret's in it.
much.
And Margaret's in
Really?
it. It was great. He's young Anthony Hopkins. He's young as you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was young.
Yeah, that
So
pup-
I have one question that I want to ask you, and I know that we're bewitching here. My wife actually, she wanted to call and make sure I got my dinner order in. So
That's nice of her.
Excuse me for being disrupted. Coming into the meetings, okay, I'm curious to your perspective on this. When new guys are coming in and somebody asks you to sponsor them, what's your go-to? Like, if somebody says, "Hey, I want you to," how do you? Like, I have a couple of things, and I kind of like, you know, I've been sober a while, so I'm not going to really waste my time on somebody that's not going to do the work.
96. Remember 86?
86, yeah.
But it's 96 in the big book.
Okay, good.
Do not waste time with someone who will not work with you. There are plenty of people that have that will
96.
gladly.
All right.
I call it 96 of them because you know chefs know what that means. When you're 86 on,
I do.
Sure.
I got that,
it's
but I didn't.
also the sex ideal when you go from. They say, "Oh, the men's point of view," and they go through the whole sex thing, and they go, "But the woman's point of view is on 96." Do not keep chasing a man who will not work. It's just very funny when when those AA guys do it on the tape. But
So, how do you start them out? What's your go-to?
First of all, it's not a Sadie Hawkins dance.
Right.
We're not a Sadie Hawkins dance. We're not.
Okay.
I don't expect anybody to come up and ask me, particularly not me, because I'm freaking serious, to sponsor them. It's just the way it is. So if I see you got the deer in the headlights look, and there isn't 6, 8 guys crowded around you trying to suck the newcomer into their orbit, you know, I'll go up there and I say, I'm a Vinny alcoholic. I said, "Are you interested in how I stay sober?" Why? Because in the book it says, ask him if he's interested in how you stay sober. Look, it's in the 7th chapter, by the way. When people are done with their amends with me, or when they're in the middle of getting their done, and I know they're going to do them, I say, "Look, say a prayer. God put somebody in your life, and read the 7th chapter again." Because we go through the 7th chapter on the way through the book. But I say, read that 7th chapter again, and in a week, there'll be somebody in your life, and it always happens. But anyway, so when I'm in a meeting, I see this new guy, I said, "Are you interested in how I stay sober?" He says, "Yes." I say, "Well, I do these 5 things every day. These 5 things are, I ask the power, you got any problem with God? If you do, it's okay, because I've sponsored an atheist and watched him have a spiritual experience right in front of me. It's okay, yeah. And I do a little reading, a little quiet time in the morning. I talk to another alcoholic, I get to a meeting, and I thank whatever power it was that kept me sober that day. Thank him. Those 5 things. And then I'm going to ask you, are you willing to go to any length to stay sober, to not feel that way anymore? And if he says yes, the poor bastard, I will say, please read the forward to the 1st edition, just that one, and then the doctor's opinion, and call me. And if he does, I say, okay, I'm going to this meeting. If you want to talk more about this, meet me at the meeting. and then we get a relationship, and then I go and work through the book with them for the rest of the. We start over. I tell them keep
gotcha.
reading, and then I start the book again with them. I start with the blank page. I do the circle and triangle. I explain, the three sides of the triangle,
Okay.
what it means, and then we go right into the book and show them where all those beautiful statements of hope are, how many have recovered.
So everyone has a routine that was given to them, passed on to them, and so
Exactly.
I admit I was interested in yours because I'm always trying to craft a little bit of maybe a little seasoning in my stew. You know what I mean? I want to add a little bit of something to the gumbo, and
You got to be open to new ideas and new experience all the time, because if it enhances your sobriety, what the hell?
so I always ask the new guys to read the Spiritual Experience every day
Oh, nice.
for a couple of weeks. I said you need to absorb the content of this message and understand what's happening to you, and also understand that depending on the day that you have, the words on that page are going to mean different things to you every day. And it's like it teaches them about some of the, I think it teaches them a little bit about how the alcoholic mind works, which is still a mystery, but I'm getting close.
Well, it acknowledges our defiance is number one characteristic. It acknowledges defiance. It talks about that, and it talks about the varieties of religious experiences and all that stuff. And
Herbert Spencer.
And it also, of course, touches on Herbert Spencer, who probably didn't really say that, but that's still to be determined. It's like St. Francis didn't write that prayer, but that's cool. We call it the St. Francis.
I don't care who said it.
Exactly.
It's great stuff,
It's
man.
perfect, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's like I needed to have an open mind, which I didn't have.
Yeah.
Vinny, tell us your burning bush story.
A burning bush story.
Didn't you say you had a burning bush story?
Yeah, well,
All right.
first time, I told you about my sponsor who saved my life by getting me to pray. At one point, I was so desperate, so miserable in AA, doing everything but AA, that I actually had him. I found the third step prayer myself, and we did the third step prayer. And then I said, because what happened was I called him, and he was like, I'm weeping in the phone. My wife's asleep. I just can't do this. He goes, well, now it's time for you to write, which meant, and his way of doing the steps was, now you're going to write your fourth step.
Right.
And so I had no direction or guidance. I remember what Babyface said. That fourth step made no fucking sense to me at all. I'm sorry about my language.
Nah, it's fine.
I didn't know there were clear-cut directions.
Yeah.
So some woman comes up to me and hands me a hazel. I wrote War and Peace. I wrote my life story. That's what I ended up writing. It's my life story. Hey, pretty good reading. Anyway, so I go to his house. I start reading my life story to him. And this guy's got wire rim glasses, got a beard, long gray hair, and I'm reading, and I look at him, and he's got this Cheshire cat smile on his face. He looks like Jerry Garcia on a good day. And I go down again, and I'm reading, and I just, the whole room was filled up with the power and presence of God. I could not define the power or presence. I knew that it was the power and presence of God.
Was there.
That I had opened up a channel, and it was filling this room up. And I look at him, and he's still smiling. And I'm like, there is no way this cat's feeling what I'm feeling right now.
Right.
And it has just happened to me. Like I listened to a fifth step. Another great story. But anyway, I looked at him, and I just said, Bob, I'm going to read the rest of this to you. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's been lifted. And that was the first time I felt real freedom in the process of the steps. That actually these steps, which are practical, in other words, we practice them. And they're practical because they make sense. But what happens is you get results from them. And that became very clear to me at that moment. So it was a God moment, real good moment.
Fantastic. The whole room filled up. That's great.
Wow.
Well, fellas, listen, if you're having a tough time quitting whatever it is you know you need to quit, you're not alone. There's apps and numbers and groups in your town, or you can call us if you want. Leave us a message, 727-294-4933. Hit us up on Facebook. You know, taking that first step into a room or a chat or a group with people just trying to get better just like you will be the best day of your life. Vinny, thank you so much for being here today. Do you have a final message you'd like to leave to our listeners out there?
Just keep coming. Just keep coming and let the process happen to you. because it will happen if you're willing. That's all.
Yeah, meeting makers make it.
Yeah.
Primo, what's your final point for today's show, brother?
Wow. He always puts me on the spot every week. I do love it.
You think he'd be ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I've been, when somebody covers so many great areas of this wonderful life that we've been granted, it's hard to embellish on it. It's hard to go above and beyond that. But, the simplicity of the 5 things it's such a critical point. And to me, just the point of contact with new people is something that we have to kind of honor and respect. And that tradition has to be carried on, so that the group stays strong. I'm going to be old one day. I'm going to be in a diaper, and I'm going to need somebody helping me out. I wasn't supposed to get old. I'm getting old, so I might need somebody to help me out one day. But, if we can grow this thing and keep it strong and just hang on to some of these things that are our beliefs, and then you pass it on, and then you pass it on, this thing is going to be great, and just that's the part that, they talk about, don't screw this thing up. There's, I get a little sensitive. This is important to me. So when I see it getting a little off the track, I'm like, I'm kind of getting like an old codger. I'm like, turn that goddamn music down type guy now, which I don't know what happened, but it happened.
Nice. Vinny, name those 5 things again one time.
So I ask whatever power that might be out there to keep me sober for one day.
Yep.
I do a little quiet time in reading, and I always encourage the newcomer to get with that big book and get through the 164. Get to a meeting, talk to another alcoholic, whether it's me or another alcoholic, about 3 or 4, and then get your ass home and thank that power for keeping you sober that day.
I love it. I love it. Hey, well, listen, thanks for listening to Sober Shenanigans, real talk and real recovery. Worry, anxiety, and fear, it's all up in here. So just give yourself a break. You're enough, and you're doing great. I'm Stauff, and he's Primo. And remember, no drinks today.
We're all in the same boat, fellas.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.